All right, welcome to the Expansion Chamber, episode 5. I'm your host, Midas, and I'm joined today again by Brett of Nightwood Guns. Want to introduce yourself, Brett?
Yep, I'm Brett, Nightwood Guns on YouTube.
And Pete of TFN15. Pete, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, this is Pete from TFN15 on YouTube.
All right, so today we're going to talk about customer service experiences. Last week, or a week before, whenever this goes live, I released my video on the macro. My last video on the macro. Thank God, I'm
Look
done
at your
with this
face.
thing. I know that's me just being pleased by SIG customer service. Anyways, so in the video, spoiler alert, I called SIG customer service. They basically told me to go pound sand and said that my macros not a problem and they don't cover anything, even the obvious issues. And so, yeah, I figured we'll each talk about our experiences with customer service with different companies. Pete, you want to start us off with a positive customer service experience?
Oh yeah, man. Well, I appreciate all of Brett's videos, but I have to say the other day he threw a little shade at Hollow Sun, and I don't know, man. I'm teasing. He didn't throw any shade at them really. But I have to say, Hollow Sun of all companies, right? You would think that, like a company that produces their product in China would be like the worst customer service. And, you and I have had a lot of experience with that, Midas, in the airsoft realm, So like, you break something, it's like you're on your own. Hollow Sun, however, every experience I've ever had, I had, I guess, the 503GU. One of the screws on the bottom stripped out when I was mounting it to a Unity riser. And, I called them up about it or emailed them, whatever I did. And it was like, yeah, no problem. Just send it back to us. We'll take a look at it and we'll have a new one out to you. And there was a little delay in that the 503GU is no longer made, but they gave me whatever the equivalent model was, brand new, out of the box. And they even asked me like, hey man, is it okay if we send you this one instead? This is the newer upgraded version, or whatever. And then on other occasions, like I've lost little Hollow Sun parts, like maybe a screw from something or, the turret caps I've lost, right? And I'm like, oh God, where'd it go? And, when those things bounce off into like the grass somewhere, if you're zeroing outside. And all I've done is send an email and it's like, yeah, we'll just get them right out to you. I was like, all right, how much do I owe you? And they're like, nothing. You're good. All set. Like, I'm like, wow, pretty crazy. So, I mean, I think like it's shocking that Hollow Sun would do that, but it's not in the sense that if you've ever been to SHOT Show, when you're walking around there and you go to the Hollow Sun booth as an example, right? They're so like friendly. They want to introduce you to all their product. They like talk to everybody. They want everybody buying their product, right? And I think they've really made their customer service and attention to the customer, what we want, a priority. Like the long battery life, multiple reticles, all those features that we're getting out of all of the Hollow Suns. Like if you guys just go watch Brett's last video on the 509T, I couldn't agree with him more. I love that. I love that optic. So yeah, they're a company that actually listens, at least for now. I will give them some rope to hang themselves with. They do listen to their patrons.
Yeah.
Nice 509, bro.
This is one of many Hollow Sun optics I've owned. First went to the rifle optics, then I went to their pistol optics. And recently one of my 507Cs got destroyed in the rain. Like it literally filled with water and so the reticle stopped working. Like I couldn't change it anymore. And so I emailed them, I sent it in. I'm still waiting for a replacement. It's been a while, but also they are upgrading me to the SCS instead. So they said, whatever, that's ready. So there is that delay, but also I'm getting a different optic versus what they could have given me a 507, no wait time. So, but great customer service experience with them because it's like, well, yeah, you used it in the rain. You could easily say you're not supposed to use the product that way. You need to protect it or whatever, use a hood on a holster, but got full of water, stopped working. They're like, fine, send it in, we'll replace it. So pretty good experience on my end.
Hollow Sun needs to have that level of customer service though, because of quality control. They would not survive without decent customer service. Yes. Now, first of all, Vortex blows their customer service out of the water. Vortex is literally no questions asked. You could, drop your dot on the ground and shatter it, or like use it as a hammer, and it's no questions asked. They'll just replace it. So that, now granted, Vortex has fallen way behind in the red dot game. They're probably even further behind than Trigicon. Yeah. But like
they at least have top loaded batteries, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But with Vortex, it's like they blow Holosun so far out of the water that it makes Holosun look like they're just meeting par. But Holosun needs that because of quality control issues. You will see, I know that the dude over on Lucky Gunner had glass pop out of his 507K, and like it happens at a round count that's kind of spooky, because you can train and shoot all the time and be at like a 700 rounds, 1,000 rounds, 1,700 rounds, 2,500 rounds, and that's when the glass on your Holosun is going to pop out. So that's why it's really important to vet it. That's why I personally, even though I love Holosuns, I run Acros or Trigicon, like SROs, whenever I can, just because they're a little more, they hold up to recoil a little better. That being said, there are so many people with great Holosuns that continue to run. This one, the EPS carry, is awesome. I finally was able to get a second one. They're no longer unobtainium. So yeah, I highly recommend Holosun. Their customer service is decent. It's passable.
Yeah, like I haven't had issues, and this is the thing I'm noticing is it seems to be a newer thing with Holosun, because I never heard Holosun having issues back in the day, like when they made the rifle optics before they even started making the pistol optics, and then when they did, like the complaints with this was like, oh, it's kind of a fisheye lens, which it zooms you in a little bit, but like I really don't care. You don't notice it when you're shooting, especially both eyes open and target focused. Or like even this guy, like the 507C, I've had this thing forever, and I've beaten the shit out of this one. Oddly enough, the newer one I had is the one that died in the rain, and I was running this one the same day. So, but I have seen that where like people's glasses and lenses have been popping out.
Yeah.
That seems to be the main thing. I haven't seen any other issues with the Holosuns.
Yeah, just on that 509T that my patron sent me, he had two of them that in the rain, like literally water got into it. And it looked like it got in from the battery compartment. Like it wasn't sealed like it should have been on both units. But other than that, it's mostly just glass popping out. And then, you'll get the quality control issue of the dot's not crisp. And it's one of those things where, a lot of people in the comment section will be like, oh, you just have an astigmatism. And it's like, no. There are some Holosuns that you will get where the dot is legit oblong or fuzzy or whatever. Usually it's adhesive gets on the emitter lens, and it causes that to happen. But Holosun's usually pretty good about taking care of you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I have that issue, but I do definitely have an astigmatism. So like every dot, like unless I use large MOA dots, like small MOA dots, even aim points, I still get some weird like star bursting, but I don't really care. It doesn't affect me.
And I will say that you're right, Brett, 100% about the QC, and that's why they have to be so stringent and good to people, generally speaking, with their customer service. Because if you have bad QC, bad customer service, you're out of there. And they are compensating, if you will, for that QC. And yeah, I've seen some, like, for example, that first issue I told you about, the screw stripping out. I didn't do any. I know not to, go ham on my screws on anything, aim point, Holosun, whatever. You take it easy. Take it easy, Tiger. We all know how strong you are.
Yep.
That's a QC thing. That's either that or crap metal or whatever,
China screw.
Yeah, China screw. Absolutely. So for sure, you got to keep your eye out on that. But that being said, it could be worse. And for the money, you get quite a bit of stuff from them. So, and by the way, everyone should go watch that video because Brett makes a really, really great comparison of the 509T and the Aimpoint Acro P2, which I've been looking at. And you almost talked me out of it. I kind of want it anyway.
Yeah. I recommend it. I still do.
Yeah, no, it looks beautiful, but the width, the kind of like window width on it, I know I'm getting off track, but I was like really appreciative of that. It's kind of made me second guess, especially because I can get the 509 for like less than half the price. So
yeah, no, that's the thing is you can't compete with Chinese manufacturing. It makes it so much cheaper. Those Holosuns would be like, $1,000 if it was manufactured in America with all of those features.
Yeah.
And if it was built, a little higher quality.
Yeah.
Because Aimpoint is made, I don't know how it is in Switzerland, but everything's expensive in Switzerland. I do know
Sweden.
that.
It is Sweden.
Oh, Sweden, not Switzerland. Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean Aimpoint, dude, talk about bomb-proof stuff. I have an Aimpoint, I think it's an H1 on a gun that has had the same battery in it. I think I was expecting 5 years of life. Dude, it's still going like 8 years.
Nice.
And the thing is just bomb proof. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what got my attention with Aimpoint is I got like an H1 on sale and I put it on a rifle and it's just like still trucking.
You know, I mean, well, like, but Aimpoint, because Trichicon normally tends to be like top of the price point, it seems, in like the Red Dots game. And yet I don't feel like it's also like for what you're getting. Because the RMR now I would say is equivalent to like a 508T, right? If I had to make an equivalent thing. And I said the 508T is better feature set wise because you don't have to take your optic off and it has a better window. Like the RMR window is very, very small.
Yes.
And blue.
Height wise.
And it's a deep, deep blue. You know?
The biggest thing.
The blue doesn't really matter, I think, in my opinion.
It's the window height.
It's the window height and the way the battery is a pain. And it's an open emitter. And I think open emitters for any serious use are just going the way of the dodo.
Yeah.
Like for this as like a range gun, training gun, even a home defense gun, I don't mind an open emitter. But for anything serious, closed emitters, there's no reason not to.
And I just want to say this, like, don't think your RMR is like, you know, oh, this thing's bulletproof, bro. You've heard it a million times. Like, I could do anything with it. Sure, okay. My RMR just recently, like, I had it on this Gen 4 Glock 19 build, and it was doing a weird thing just when I was dry firing, where like I would rack it. I'd look at the dot was exactly where I'd set it. I'd click, dry fire, and you'd see it like dim, like from the click. Never mind the recoil. Like
Did you have a sealing plate?
Yes, I have the plate. Yes, exactly.
Is it a Type 2?
Yes, I do. Yes, it is a Type 2. Yes. So
did you torque the screws to 12 inch pounds?
Okay, I don't know that. I don't know, but yes, exactly. And that's doing that problem. So now I'm going to go ahead and see if Trichicon's customer service is up to snuff. Probably as soon as this week. You know, I don't mind that thing as a piggyback optic for a rifle with an LPVO or something. You know,
I also got a bad RMR for the first time. That would have been probably about 6 months ago. So I think that they had just a pandemic quality control dip as well. Because I had a bunch of RMRs, Type 2s, never had an issue. And then one, just like you, man, it would just dim for like no reason. And then, of course, tested out Trichicon's customer service. Slow, but passable.
Yeah, it worked. They were like, okay, cool. We'll fix it or replace it.
Yeah.
Did they just fix it? Is that what they did?
They replaced mine, but a lot of the times they just fix it.
And you're right. Because I was gonna say, like, what is that problem? I'm so curious. Like, what the hell?
Probably
is
like
that?
a loose wire or like a bad solder connection somewhere. I would guess.
Just a connection
because it's all micro soldering, so you do that just a teeny bit off, and it's gonna fuck up everything.
Right.
But I mean,
that was shocking to me, dude. Shocking.
It is interesting to me. Excuse me. When you have these companies that I think like a Trichicon, their customer service isn't as good because they're like, oh, it doesn't have to be. We're Trichicon, right? I think Glock is an interesting kind of bridge between the two because Glock is a massive company. Their guns are massively reliable and they work, right?
Chill.
Glock don't need to use Glock customer service, but the thing is, in reality, if you need to use it, it's really good. So I've been in 4 situations where I've had issues with a Glock. My first one, my striker broke in my Glock 48. I just bought a replacement and changed it because I didn't really care to deal with the whole process. And then I had a trigger spring in this Gen 3 19. The trigger spring broke. It snapped. And that was after God knows how many rounds. So I just had a replacement, put a replacement in. And then the other 2 times when I actually had to send stuff to them was when that ammo exploded in my 34 and they literally took care of it free of charge. And then just recently I stripped that screw and I was anticipating to pay something for that service because my gunsmith was going to charge me something for it. And they're like, nope, we'll do it. Just send it to us. Now it looks like USPS might have lost my package in the mail. So that's going to be fun to deal with. But I got insurance. So normally at least the insurance works out well. So don't use the post office for stuff is now what I'm starting to learn. I might start going.
But then, how do you use UPS now? Either with their like anti-gun stance too. You know what I mean?
Gun. It was just the slide of my 4, so that can be shipped with any carrier. You don't need to ship it.
Yeah, just supporting them as a company.
Yeah, and the big problem with USPS is just I've been having so many packages lost by them lately that it's like I always get insurance now if I use them, and normally it's cheaper. But it's like I've as bad of experiences I've had with FedEx and UPS, they've never lost anything. So it's like, actually no, FedEx has lost something. Never mind. I don't know. But even like shipping companies can have awful customer service. But I will say Glock has really good customer service, but they also have a great product where the average user probably never needs it.
Look at this shill. Just shilling for Glock. Man, why don't you just tattoo Glock on your forehead, buddy? God.
Can't see it. It's an invisible ink.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing, right? Like, you know, one thing we should have probably talked about. I mean, for me, like one of the there's so many criteria to like what I find to be good customer service, right? Like, for example, how quickly do they respond on the phone, on an email? You know, am I sitting there for an hour, like holding, forever, or is the email going to come like a week after or whatever like that? And it depends on like the size of the company, of course, right? I think that's one criteria. How fast do they turn around the work? That's another criteria. Obviously, will they take care of the problem? I like the idea of a no questions asked kind of situation, because what does it really cost a company to deal with something in a no questions asked manner? I mean, even if it costs them the cost of the optic for them, it's a fraction of the cost of the bad marketing, the bad PR. And face it, we're a small community. Word gets out very quickly. We're out here on a podcast talking about our good and bad experiences, so to me, I don't know, what do you guys feel are some good like some criteria for a company that they have to hit those notes for you to feel like they have solid customer service?
Yeah, I think like you said, response time and availability. Now, here's the thing, because like SIG on one hand actually has really good availability because they have a lot of reps ready to answer the phones. I wonder why. But they have a lot of people.
We're having extended call volumes right now. I'm like, I wonder why.
I wonder why.
But they do have a lot of reps ready to answer the phones. I know because I hear like dogs barking in the background. Lots of reps at home, and that, it's home. Like you start talking to them and they're like, actually, like I'm not in the office, so I'm gonna have to talk to my supervisor. So it's like just availability isn't good enough, right? It has to be also the service. Can they deliver
of the reps as well?
Yeah, exactly. And also like I really appreciate people who just get it done. Like I had, and again, quality control can happen anywhere. I had an HK USP compact. The extractor literally just broke. Like the extractor claw, the claw just broke off of the extractor. Whoa. And you think HK USP, you're like, dude, that's bulletproof. Well, clearly something got through, like poor heat treat or something like that. And people always joke, we're HK and we hate you, too bad. And that's true when it comes to their innovation and their designs. But with their customer service, I was like, hey, this extractor broke in my USP. Here's a picture. I emailed them and they said, cool, here's an RMA, send it. I sent it. They had it back to me in like, 6 days. And I was like, that's what I want. And then they gave me like gunsmith notes, like, yeah, the extractor broke. We put in a new extractor. And I'm like, sweet, that's a good experience.
Right.
Then there are, people who go overboard. Like I dealt with TSOS, and they had they make the Turkish 1911s or import the Turkish 1911s. Okay. I dealt with TSOS, and they had excellent customer service, but it went way overboard to the point of like sending me like pages and pages of gunsmith notes, like check this, did that. There's like basically writing me a novel, and we really appreciate you as a customer. And I'm like, dude, just like fucking fix my gun. Yeah. Fix it. So
I'll take that over nothing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing so I prefer just like streamline. Let's do this shit. Like we're in 2023. Let me just send it in and get it back to me as soon as possible. Yeah. Fixed 100%.
Well, it's like, that's the thing is, I am
wonderful
today.
Wonderful. That's exactly what your followers want to hear.
This is the burp chamber. No, but like, so let's say TRX Arms, right? They're like the gold standard for me in customer service, because I have broken multiple of their products. Every single time I send them an email, as long as it's a business day, in less than 24 hours, I get a response. And sometimes even on weekends, I get responses from them. And they're like, okay, we'll send you a replacement. Fill out this form. Like what I hate when a company makes me send them a product that no one's gonna be able to fix, right? If it's like my HoloSun, okay, maybe they can change the emitter out and fix it. They're just replacing it, but it's like maybe they could fix it. But especially if it's a physical product like a holster, right, or a sling or a plate carrier, anything where it's like, okay, you're not going to fix this without damaging the integrity, right? This needs to be replaced. I hate companies, because I've had this happen so many times, firearms and other companies, where it's like, oh, you need to send it to us. I'm like, why? You can see in the pictures, this thing's fucked. There's no way you're going to replace it. Now I have to just wait extra time for you to receive it, for you to send me the replacement. I have to go out of my way to ship it when it's your product that had the issue. So to me, if I have to send something out for no reason, not just it could be repaired like an optic, like a gun, something like that, that to me is like a mark against the company. Another thing is definitely the ability. I will say one thing I don't like the TRX doesn't have is the ability to call them. They have such fast email times that I kind of give it some leeway, but I really hate emailing. I hate online forums. I hate literally anything where I cannot call a person and talk to someone on the phone. I hate everything else, to be honest. I like calling someone on the phone and speaking to them, because everything else, it's always a pain. It's always this. But if I just talk to someone on the phone and then they're like, yep, we'll take care of you. This is it. Like Glock, you just call them. And this is the other thing I love about Glock. I know, shill. There is no automated bullshit system. I hated that so much. And I literally made fun of it in my macro video where I put in like those SpongeBob memes, because there's like 8 different things you have to get through to just get to their actual warranty support. Versus Glock, I call, someone answers the phone, and I'm like, hey, I have this issue. Okay, let me transfer you to this department. They have an actual person who answers the phone. And something like that to me just like elevates them to another level, like actual human beings answering the phone. Yeah. I know agencies like that, but that's obviously a smaller company, but still agency, you call them, you can talk to a person.
Yep.
But I don't...
Staccato is another one. So I've dealt with Staccato customer service, and they are awesome. Now, here's the thing about Staccato customer service. On paper, they are trash. If you read like we only do this. If we can't find a problem, we're going to charge you $2 per round. I mean, not that crazy, but it's they charge you for the ammo if they can't like replicate your malfunction. They say they won't, if you stipple your grip, they won't warranty your gun at all. Voids the warranty. And it's like, if you disassemble the gun, voids the warranty. On paper, it's crap, but in practice, they don't pay attention to any of that. So like, if you have an issue, you call them and they're like, okay, let's get you on the phone with a gunsmith, or they'll have a gunsmith call you back in like, 5 or 10 minutes. And you're talking to one of the gunsmiths at Staccato, and they talk you through your problem to help you diagnose it. Now, the good news is Staccato quality control for the most part is very good. Again, they had a pandemic quality control issue, so you're not going to run into problems with Staccato very often. But if you do, you get on the phone with a gunsmith who is knowledgeable, not an idiot, someone who's really knowledgeable, and they will walk you through, and they will go above and beyond to send your gun back to you better than it was brand new. So that's probably the best customer service I've dealt with is Staccato.
Speaking of
they
knowledge,
better be for the price,
Yeah,
I mean,
seriously.
they're an expensive gun, and it's kind of like when you buy a really nice car, like a Mercedes or something, right? Like, you get treated a little bit differently, even in the buying process. I don't know if you guys have ever, dealt with any kind of like a luxury car brand, but like,
no.
I'm not that I own them. I've been around it though, and I know how you get treated. You're paying for all that, obviously, but that's what you're paying for. So Staccato needs to come correct as well, especially, like you said, there were some issues during the pandemic. I've been hearing things about their finish.
DLC, their DLC finish. They had a run. I don't know if it's still going on.
SIG must have been doing their finishes.
Seriously, because like this Staccato XC, thousands and thousands of reps in and out of the holster. And if I wipe the Kydex off of this thing, it literally looks like I bought it brand new.
Right.
Like that's how it should be. Then you have people posting on Reddit, and I even saw one at my local gun range where someone had it in and out of the holster like 50 times, and the finish is wearing off. And I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to be.
No.
Yeah, like I mean,
rough.
All my Glocks. I mean, like this 17 is 3 years old, and the finish still looks like really good. I mean, you saw this 19 slide that's that's 4 years old, and I mean, other than being beat up by the compensator, which I mean, you can't. No finish is gonna like save that, but otherwise everything's really good on it. And so even like some holsters that
what I really love about the
but
nice.
Something I want to say is I hate when you call a customer service and whether you're talking to a gunsmith or whatever, and they treat you like an idiot.
Oh,
Right?
Jesus.
Like
Yeah.
there's a way to, and
that's
I
because
get it.
So many
Well,
idiots
this is the
call
thing.
them.
But there's a way to do it where you don't treat someone like an idiot.
Yeah.
And when I call, like, I'll call them like, yes. And I'll be like, I checked this, and this, none of it. And they're like, have you checked that? I literally just told you I checked that. It's not that. Right.
Right.
And
it's like when you called Sig on your video on your,
well, yeah, and it's like,
whatever.
what are you using to clean it and stuff? It's like, I mean, I get that they have to ask that stuff. And to be honest,
Yeah.
I forgot about the other product I was using. They have to ask me again to say it. So maybe I'm an idiot, but you know, I just feel like also sometimes the person doesn't know anything, right?
Yes.
And it's like they don't know anything actually about the thing. So, you know, they're like, oh, I need to ask this person. I'm like, okay, why are you answering the phone if you don't know? Like I used to work many years ago. I did phone support for Comcast for their customers, and there was level 1 support, which was some dude in India in a call center, and there's level 2, which I was level 2 phone support. And we knew everything, right? The buck stopped here. Other than unless we sent a technician out, we knew everything. So if you got to level 2 support, we could either fix the problem or send someone to fix it. But we know everything about the way the system works. Level 1, they could basically help you with like restart your shit or something. Most times they'd send you to level 2. Level 1 was more for like billing and shit like that. We were the actual technology side of it. And we were supposed to know our stuff. And if you didn't know your stuff, that was obviously not good. I didn't work there very long because it sucks doing phone customer service for Comcast. But point being, you know, when you have that level, they should know their stuff. And if I'm calling me like, hey, I'm having issues with my gun, someone should be able to be like, yeah, we know about that, you know, or diagnose it with you. Like the time I've called Glock when I had my gun exploded, they walked me through. Okay, let's look at this, look at that. Okay, based on what you're saying, we want to inspect it. We want to X-ray the slide, make sure there's no micro cracks, so that way your gun's not going to explode on you just by normal use, right? Versus I call SIG and they're like, oh, I'll have to show this to someone to know, right? It's not like
exactly.
Right, and like and then all I get is it doesn't appear that the gouge on the barrel will affect function. It doesn't appear, so like you're not even going to confirm it in any way. You're just going based on appearance sake, right?
Every 365 I've owned has had that gouge on the barrel, and it's a part of the design. They figure that nobody's going to put enough rounds through it for it to affect function eventually,
which is insane.
I don't know, like, and obviously 2,000 rounds, and then I noticed it when I did like when I was really looking at the gun one last time, and maybe it was there before, I never noticed it. I don't know.
It'll show up after a couple hundred rounds.
Okay. So, and then the dumbest thing, and there's like 7 comments I've gotten of this. It's like, I thought, okay, maybe one person had this dumb idea. No, so many people are like, oh, that gouge is where the recoil spring rests. I'm like, that's for the recoil spring. I'm like, no. That's the half moon crescent thing in the back of the barrel. This is a literal place where you can see the finish has been nicked off and like there's a cut into the, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's because the recoil spring assembly is rubbing under recoil on that spot on the barrel every single time. At least that's my assumption.
Like if let's see, this gun probably has, you know, so many rounds through it. Like this Glock.
Oh, I'm just using my Glock brand. Glock.
I will say there is, this gun is so dirty. There is some wear, like they're like physical wear marks. Like I will say the Gen 5 barrel finishes are kind of ass.
Yes.
Like they don't rust or anything, but like the finish on the barrels wears off so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't even have any Gen 3 barrels anymore because I've had to replace them. But like you can see all that wear versus like the agency barrel has tons of rounds and there's way less wear on it. I mean, there's a little bit of, there's some wear at the lockup, but I don't know. I have noticed Glock Gen 5 barrels wear a lot. The slide, I mean, then there's some wear on the inside of the slide, but there's nothing where it's like a gouge or like some sort of friction point.
Yeah, the finish comes off. It's not actually taking chunks out of the metal. It's not like leaving a divot.
And that's like concerning. And the fact that SIG was like, nah, you're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Wait till it explodes in your hands, and then we'll deal with it, if you know what I mean. And that's the other thing. They treat you like you're an idiot. And granted, most people, we've spoken about this before a couple of times now. Most people will not put enough rounds that they will ever experience any kind of issues whatsoever, or even notice them. Really, because most people aren't like us. Most people aren't breaking down their guns after, and examining and looking and making sure things are operational. And you're kind of going, all right, cool,
and you shouldn't have to is the thing. Like I will say this is the first time I took this Glock apart in like several months. I don't clean it. I haven't lubed it. I just take it to the range. I shoot it. If it has an issue, then I do something about it. Right. This Glock I clean maybe a little more frequently. And then like my only carry duty guns, do I like actually clean them every time I shoot them?
Yeah.
But if it's a range gun, or a gun I'm not currently carrying, I clean it eventually. And rifles, even duty and carry and like home defense rifles and stuff, I don't clean that often just because it's more of a pain to clean a rifle.
Yeah.
And I'm lazy. But you shouldn't have to do that, right? Like maintenance should not be like you shouldn't have to change your oil every time you drive your car.
No.
Right?
No.
You should be able to, like I change my oil every 5,000 miles, right? That should be sufficient. I shouldn't have to be like, oh, I just drove from here to the grocery store. Guess I got to change my oil. Guess I got to change my belts. Guess I got to, put more coolant in. Like, okay, your car is a problem. And that was my whole thing with the SIG where everyone's like, oh, you just got to maintain it. Well, why am I maintaining it so much? And any product where it's like the company says, oh, you just need to maintain it better. And I've gotten that from multiple companies, not just SIG. It's like, maybe your product just sucks giant ass.
Yeah. And, the thing, I had that, I carried a SIG P365 XL for 2 years and never had an issue with the finish or anything like that. And then I literally had your X macro for like a couple of weeks, and the thing is rusting. And it's like, okay, so apparently something has changed, at least with this X macro and the batch that went out with it. And judging based on my comments, subsequent batches as well.
Same with mine.
Like, there is a problem.
Same in the magazines. And didn't you have another XL that started having issues?
Yeah, so it was the second XL that I bought, and I was carrying it, and it would just like get like a line of rust on it from sweating on it. I'm like, but my other 365 and my other XL don't do that. What is going on? And I was just kind of like fighting rust on that spot, and then rust on the magazine there. It was not nearly as bad as yours, but it's like I was keeping up with it, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna move this thing. So I moved it, went back to carrying the other XL, my other 365. No problems. So it really is a QC thing.
Yeah.
But SIG says that it's within spec.
Yeah. It's like, that's the thing when SIG's like, no, it's okay. I'm like, so to me, it's not a QC thing then, right? The way SIG addresses it. And if any company says, oh no, that's okay, therefore that's within 6 months of use and a couple thousand rounds, that's acceptable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know what, like really pissed me off, and what, kind of back to that customer service thing with your video. It's like, I hate when they're like, yeah, no, they kind of stonewall you, and they're like, no, that's it. We can't do anything for you on that. And then you're like, what do you mean? I just spent $800 on this fucking gun, or on whatever product it is. Let's be real, guys. Like, this isn't our main gig, right? Like, guns, like all day long, all night long. It's not our main gig. We spend our hard-earned money in this direction in our lives because this is what we love doing. So I really, really hate when they just shut you down, because when I get shut down on something like that, like, unless it's my fault, and in that case, 99.999% of the time, I'm not calling anybody. I'm like, oh, I dicked this up. I was going to go send my MOS slide to Glock because I chipped off one of my screws in the slide, and they were like, yeah, just send it. We'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. It's not going to cost you anything. I was like, whoa, okay, awesome. But when they just treat you like, oh yeah, no, nothing I can do for you, and in which case with Midas, and the rust and the gouge and the delamination on the magazines and all the stuff he experienced, man, that is what gets me. Like, you should be throwing yourself at me to retain me as a customer, because I will never buy another Striker Fire SIG again after like all the stuff that's been going on and watching what Midas has gone through. And I have, like I said, I have my hammer fired SIG 226 Mark 25. Love it. We'll never get rid of it. That thing is staying with me forever. But dude, you'll be hard pressed to sell me on a freaking Striker Fire SIG ever again.
It's like Velocity. So I think of Velocity Systems, where I just ordered something and they sent me the wrong size. And not only did they say just keep the thing, like, and this is the other thing I hate, when a company basically tells you in order for us to send you the right product, you got to send us the wrong thing we send you,
right?
Especially when it's something cheap.
Langdon Tactical for me,
right? So, because I ordered some shoulder pads, and I ordered 1.5-inch shoulder straps or like shoulder sleeves, and they sent me 2-inch ones. And they're like, oh, okay, keep the 2-inch ones. We'll send you some 1.5s. They also sent me like a hat, some patches, a t-shirt. Like, they sent me a bunch of other stuff too. And I'm like, that it was a little overboard. I'm like, hey, I'll take it. I wear clothing. I am a human being. So I always appreciate anything like that. And, that's the level of customer service. Like, hey, we made a mistake. Not only are we going to replace your problem, but we are going to then basically make up for it by giving you some extra stuff. Like, I will say, I had one experience with T-Rex arms, And it was very weird. I had not ordered anything from them, right? Like it had been like a couple months. One day a package shows up at my house from TRX Arms. I'm like, the hell? And it was like a left-handed M&P shield holster. And I'm like, this definitely isn't for me. So I contact T-Rex and they're like, oh shit, our bad. They send me a shipping label. Like, would you mind sending this out? Like, you don't have to, but it would really, I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I sent it out for them. And then they gave me like some discounts on some of their products as a return, like for me sending it out. Cause I didn't have to do that. They literally said like, you don't have to do this. It would be nice if you did. And so I
mean, anyone
like,
could make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right.
And anyone can make mistakes and
mistake.
It's fine. And it's, ultimately didn't really affect me a whole lot because it's not like I got the wrong product. I feel bad for the guy who's supposed to get it originally, but ultimately it is what it is and mistakes happen. But the way companies address their mistakes, that's really like, I will say now, one of the videos that probably is almost at 500,000 views, which just blows my mind. My video on that exploding ammo. For some reason, the algorithm scoops it up and fucking put it in everyone's page. But in that thing, I had the great experience of Glock, but also Venom Ammo literally gave me 2,000 rounds for free just to show it wasn't our ammo that you shot, right? And back then, that was like $500 plus worth of ammunition. Maybe that was about actually 2,000 rounds. You're looking at about $1,000 in terms of cost for that. Now, to them, I don't know what their cost is, but still, ammo was very expensive back then. And they just sent it to me like I was expecting a couple hundred rounds. They sent me 2,000 rounds, and I wasn't even a customer of them. So now it's like they earned me as a customer because they did that. So it's definitely interesting to see how some companies react to things and mistakes and things that literally don't even involve them, and it's not their fault. And then how companies who clearly are at fault and then are like, whatever. Like SIG, the reason I originally didn't contact their customer service was because I'd had 2 of their MCX airsoft guns. The first one broke, the Picatinny in the rear broke, and I was like, maybe the issue is my fault because I'd actually dremeled out a little slot to rear wire it. If anyone knows how airsoft guns work, most guns use a battery. Mm-hmm. And I was like, maybe I'd compromised the integrity. I don't really see how I could have because of where I dremeled it, but maybe it was my fault. So I'm like, I'm not going to complain. I bought a new gun. Same thing happened on the other gun, and I didn't modify it at all. So I was like, okay, this is an issue with the gun. In fact, it was at Iron Horse 4. Kyle's not joining us today, but his MCX broke the exact same way. And after that, I was like, I'm going to contact SIG customer service. Before that, I'd heard good things about their customer service. So I'm like, maybe they'll sell me a new receiver instead of me buying a whole new gun. I contact them and basically say, we have no support for any of our training or airsoft guns. You'll have to buy a new gun. Goodbye. I'm like, what the hell? Hence why I never contacted for macro support up until people demanded it and asked for it. So, and obviously we know what that result was.
I mean, that's good customer service on your part. You made a whole video for your
I service my
viewers.
customers.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Exactly. It's like I try and make videos that like the viewers want, or like my most recent video is just a response to people's questions in other videos I made, and I put it into one video, and a lot of people are like, hey, okay, that answers my questions now. And I will say, currently I'm dealing with the customer service of Zinc Point, the company that originally sold me that exploding ammo. And people keep asking, and I'm sure this video is going to comment, where's the exploding ammo video update? It's coming, I promise. The thing is, I've been dealing with their customer service for like a month now. You can make your own judgments based on that. I'm not saying anything yet till I'm at the final result, but I've definitely been waiting quite some time to finish working with their customer service so I can make the video but I want to at least experience their customer service. Yes, it'll be a tainted experience no matter what, because they obviously want me to have a positive experience because I have some influence over their brand now. However, I'm going to at least wait and see what they say before I make a video. But let's just say I'm not fully pleased yet. So we will see what comes of that. But hopefully soon after this video goes live, I'll make that video.
I'm so much harsher than you, dude. Like, something explodes in my hands and that's it, like, and I've been a lot harsher for less, it's just like when I was selling t-shirts, like I had like a t-shirt thing going with my old channel before TFN 15. For those who don't know, I had something else, and I was selling t-shirts and hats and hoodies and all kinds of cool like swag like that because I really enjoy making that stuff, right? So I found the best way for me to do it was print on demand. And sometimes with print on demand, which is like you put in the order and then someone prints it and sends it out for you, they take a chunk of the profit or whatever. But so what? Like, I don't have to deal with that end of it, right? Like, that's, like when you have a busy life and it's a little side hustle, you don't want people to whatever. Dude, there can be QC issues with that, right? The way I handled it was immediate. Like I would like keep my eye open all the time for those emails and anything that came in. Hey man, love your stuff, but this came in all wrong. Okay, cool, no problem. And it would be like just set. I would have to get a picture to show like the printers, like what they did wrong. So I'd say, just send me a quick pic of it and we'll get that replaced for you, or I'll refund you right away, whatever you'd want me to do. And 100% of the time it was taken care of within an hour. No problem. And everyone would be like, oh my God, I didn't expect such customer service. Like, yeah, because like me personally, my ethos, I can't have that hanging over my head.
Yeah.
You know, I feel wrong about it. First of all, you bought something that wasn't up to your liking, you know, or just came in wrong. Most of the time, that's what it was. Like, if they bought a mug and it shipped and like something was cracked, okay, no problem. Of course, I'm going to replace it right away. You know, no question. And then I would always send someone like here's a 10% discount code for your next purchase. You know what I mean? Like, sorry about that, you know, and that's how I think you build a brand. I don't think you build a brand by telling someone that, oh yeah, we might be able to fix your rusty gun. I don't know.
If you pay us extra money.
If you pay us extra money. Oh, and by the way, you know, it's only a life-saving instrument. So whatever, no big deal, right? Anyway, ha ha ha, ha. Here you go. Like, I mean, I was selling T-shirts and I had better customer service, me solo by myself.
Well, so
you know, you have to have an ethos.
When it comes to you, I don't know if you remember this, but a friend of mine had bought one of your shirts, and there was something wrong with that shirt where it literally was just ripping, like falling apart on him.
Right.
And literally, like, he reaches out to you, and I don't even know if you knew him yet at the time, but he reached out to you. I didn't say anything, and literally within like 24 hours, you sent him out a new shirt.
Yeah.
So like, and that's simple. That's simple stuff. And yeah, does it cost at the end, whoever made it, a little bit of money? Yeah. But most times, especially smaller products like that, it doesn't cost a lot. And SIG, let's be honest, I'm sure SIG probably makes the macro for like 5 cents or whatever, considering how cheap they sell the 320s in the military. So I'm sure they could have easily provided me with a new macro and it would not have cost them a whole lot. And this is the thing. I'm now at over 100,000 views on, you know, my one video of the macro. And probably 50% of people don't give a shit what I said, maybe more. But there's at least several thousand people who are now not going to want to purchase a SIG product because of my experience of SIG. And it's not, you should treat me special because I'm a YouTuber. This should be your experience. And if someone happens to make a video on it, it should be a positive experience to share.
Right.
So you should always be thinking like, okay, in general in life, if I act in a certain way right now, how will I be viewed if everyone in the world finds out about what I just did? Right.
Yeah.
That's the way you should go your life. Because I think so many people are like, oh, you know, want to do stuff in private. And it's like, no, you should be okay with the world knowing what you're doing. I don't mean like you should be having like cameras inside your house or something crazy. I'm just saying, if you're doing something, you're afraid of other people finding out about it, there's something wrong, right? Either with who you're hanging out with that you're afraid of finding out about it. Like if you believe in something, certain political view, like let's say you're conservative, you're afraid all your friends aren't going to be friends with you anymore because of that, maybe find new friends. But if you're a company, you should not be afraid of who's going to release that video or make that content on it. And
yeah, you should stand by your product. That's like standing by your product,
right? Yeah. The only reason we stand by our customers, bullshit. They don't stand by their customers. They saw a video with you know, tens of thousands of views, now hundreds of thousands of views, and they're like, well, we got to address this, right? And whether I slipped through the cracks and it was all an accident, and now they're trying to make it right because they saw my video, or it's just a marketing recovery thing. Either way, I'm hoping that the experience I have with them will be decent, because now they know I'm an influencer or whatever the hell I am. So you'd think they'd give me a better experience than the average person, or at least give me a good one. So that way, when I report back to my viewers, this was my experience of Zinc Point, which, yes, guys, I will be doing soon. Don't worry. I can say, yeah, it's a good experience. Unfortunately, as of now, I don't know if that's the video I'm going to be making. I'm still waiting to finish with their customer service team, which has taken over a month to resolve a rather simple issue, I feel. And it's a small amount of money in the grand scheme of things is what it's all about. And it's, I don't know. I'm kind of giving some spoilers here without having the full context of everything happening yet. But my experience so far is it's taking way too long and it's way too complicated for what ultimately, if they were to refund me for every little cost that I incurred in the incident, would have been about $2,000, right? And a video with 500,000 views now of people of me. I mean, I was respectfully shitting on this company. If I ran that company, I would eagerly give someone $2,000 and be like, here, we'll make up for it, so you can say at least that we tried to make up for things, and I'm not asking to be paid off or something like that. I don't want to be misconstrued, but whatever the issue is, I would go out of my way if I was that company to make sure it was resolved within the next day, not a month, which is where we're at right now. So, that's.
I mean, respectfully, I will say one thing. Sometimes things take like they take a little time because they do have legal ramifications. So, for example, I would, if I owned that company and my ammo exploded in your gun, and I decided to give you money for your gun and for your medical expenses, does that somehow make me legally liable for a court case later on? Because all of a sudden, some of the shrapnel that's in your hand cuts an artery or whatever, right? Does something. Like, how does that? So you have to investigate that with your.
And ultimately, I just wanted a refund.
Right.
That's all I really wanted. And then they tried to like, oh no, we want to do this and that. So they kind of added some stuff on. I'm like, okay, if you guys want to pay for my other expenses, then great. But ultimately, when I just want a refund for a product I sent back to them,
right,
like that should not be that crazy ultimately to me. And I don't know. I just feel like even if there's other things that have to be involved, I feel like they're dragging their feet a little bit, at least for me, because even let's say it takes a while for a company to get back with, like HoloSun. It took them a bit to get back with me eventually. But also I was, it wasn't a catastrophic experience and it wasn't hurting HoloSun's brand. And like I said, I'm not trying to say this out of ego, like I'm some grand individual you have to please. It's just, if I was in their shoes, I was like, I want to resolve this as quickly as humanly possible because this is impacting our brand literally every day. This video is going up like 5,000 views. That's 5,000 new people every day. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying from that perspective, there's 5,000 people every day that are seeing that zinc point ammo is bad. So if I was in that company, I would be like, okay, I need to do something to resolve this. So the next day there's a video saying, hey, it's been resolved. Yep. So like I said, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm not trying to speak out of ego, but it feels like the customer service experience, even for someone of my position or however you'd like to say it, is still not that great. So,
yeah. Speaking of customer service, I just want to take a moment to reflect on the top 3 worst customer service experiences I've had in the firearms industry. Number 1 goes to Colt. It's actually, I quit YouTube. When I was like really, really young, I did YouTube, and then I quit it because it was when like all the gun channels were losing subscribers, and I got monetized, and then they literally like took away all my subscribers, and I was like, screw this. Colt customer service experience was so bad it made me revive my YouTube channel, so I'm like kind of grateful to them that it was so bad that it brought me back so that I could warn everybody. Colt King Cobra, basically like a hammer sear sheared off on the King Cobra. Called them. They said, yeah, we know that this happens. I was like, are you recalling it? They said, no, we just know that it's happening. Yep, there it is. The side plate on the side of the revolver was also out of spec and misaligned. I sent it back to them. It was gone for months. Couldn't get a hold of them. And speaking of calling them, you would call them and it would be like, welcome to Colt, the world's oldest firearm manufacturer. This is the world's best revolver manufacturer and 1911 manufacturer. Thank you for calling. And it's like, it would play that on repeat, and then it would go,
God.
Oh my God.
And that for like 30 seconds, and you're like, what? And then it would say, thanks for calling Colt, the world's best firearm manufacturer.
Oh my God.
And then it would do that, and then it would go like on repeat for 30 seconds.
Oh my God.
And you had to sit on the phone for like 30 minutes to get a hold of somebody. So you're like, yeah, just like RIP headphone users.
Wow, dude.
And so anyways, the gun was gone for months. They sent it back, and the side plate was still messed up. They couldn't even fix it or didn't fix it. And then when I like emailed them back, I never heard back from them. And that's why I made the video. That's number 1. Number 2 is Taurus. I know that Tauruses are good now. It's like my brother-in-law has so many Tauruses, G2C, G3C, and those things are actually surprisingly decent now, especially looking at old Taurus. I had a Rossi lever action that had a rail on top. That rail broke. And I was like, okay, I'll just call and get a replacement. I was on the phone with Taurus for 90 minutes with this guy who couldn't figure out his ass from his face. He's like, what happened? What is it? What gun? And I'm like, lever action, this model. And he's like, so you're calling about a revolver? And I'm like, no, calling about lever action rifle, like I've told you 3 times. And then he's like, well, I'm not sure what to do. Will you hold? And I was like, how long are you going to be gone this time? And he's like, 30 seconds. Dude was gone for like 10 minutes. It was like hoping I would leave. And then eventually after 90 minutes, I'm like, dude, I'm in. I'm getting this rail piece. Then he's like, yeah, it turns out that we don't make that anymore. And I was like, then what can you do for me? He said nothing. And I was like, okay. And then he hung up on me. And I was like, what? So just because of that, like I would never buy a Taurus, even though they're good now, just because if you ever have a problem, you might as well throw it in the trash can because it's over.
At least they're cheap. So if you have to buy new one, it's not too bad.
It's on an $800 X Macro. Number 3 is Remington. And it's not even for a Remington product.
It was all
for
American gun companies too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, seriously. And of course, you call. Welcome to Remington. Thank you for calling the world's best firearm manufacturer. They get just like the same voice guy. So this was for a Storm Lake barrel. Storm Lake barrels were bought by Remington, and I got a Glock 26 Storm Lake barrel that was a drop-in barrel. And it literally, when I bought it, like on the back of it, it says no fitment required. I mean, I didn't know better back then. But it like literally would not fit in the Glock 26. And I called, gets like an hour ordeal. They have one guy working the customer service department. And he put in like his 2 weeks notice or something. So he like didn't care. And I went through 3 customer service guys that quit and then joined and then quit and then joined. I got 3 Storm Lake barrels, none of which functioned. And then it literally got to the point where they were like, just return it to whoever you bought it from, because we can't make one that works.
What?
And I was like, okay. And then we get an honorable mention of Walther. Recently, I had a Walther PPS M1 with the paddle release that just completely crapped out. Like the trigger would not return. And I called them up, and the rudest, most apathetic guy answers the phone. Like I literally call Walther, and it's like, welcome to Walther, USA, the world's best firearm manufacturer. And then, the guy picks up after hitting numbers, and he's like, hi. And I'm like, is this Walther? Like, did Walther? Yeah. And he was like, what? And I was like, and I explained the situation to him, and then he was like, and?
Ooh.
And then I was like, and can you fix it? Like, and then he was like, yeah. And then I was like on the phone silent. And I'm like, can I get an RMA? And he was like,
oh my God.
What's your name? I go through all of this and I'm like, listen, you don't make the PPS M1 anymore. Are you sure you can fix this? Because I don't want a PPS M2. If you can't fix it, I'm not going to send it in. He's like, I'm 100% confident we can fix it. We get these in all the time. We can fix it. And I was like, on your website, it says that you have a 48-hour turnaround time for quality control. I said, I don't believe you. I'm like, how long is the turnaround time actually going to be if I send you this gun? He said 48 hours, just like on the website. And I was like, I don't believe you, but we'll see. And he's like, it's going to be 48 hours. Like, okay. So he sends me the RMA, and then I get the shipping label like a day later. I send it out. Gun's gone for 3 weeks. And then like I get a call from Walther, and they're like, yeah, did you send in that PPS M1? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I'm the gunsmith. We can't fix it. And I was like, the dude on the phone told me that you could fix it. And he's like, yeah, he's not supposed to say that.
Oh.
And I was like, I told him I wasn't going to send it in if you couldn't fix it. And then he was like, yeah, well, I looked at it and I thought I could fix it, but then it turns out I couldn't fix it. So we're going to send you an M2. And I was like, do you have any other guns that have paddle releases? That's the reason I got the M1. And he's like, we have the 380, the PP, the 380, the crappy like $200 380. And I was like, all right, just send me an M2 and I will sell it for half of what the M1 is worth. And he was like, okay. Then they never sent it. My FFL sent them the information, and like literally a week passed. And I'm like, dude, something's wrong. I then call, get the same guy, and he was like, I'll look into it and we'll contact you back. Never contacted me back. Then I email the gunsmith. I was able to get his email, and then he was like, we're still waiting on your FFL. And I said, check your inbox. And then he's like, oh yeah, your FFL sent it. Oh, we're sending it out now. And then they sent it out like 5 days later. So I will never buy products from any of those companies ever again.
That is, oh,
That's
actually,
a
that
lot.
reminded me of an experience I had that I completely forgot about. If you guys know the company Lead Devil USA, they make like duty belts. They're like Ronin style belts, like the micro Molly belts.
Mm.
I bought one back in 2021, and it was great. I liked it. And I wanted to buy some more to buy like a range. I wanted one to use for the range as well because I had one for one use. I wanted like some more than one use belts. And so I ordered, because I had one of their like full Molly belts where the Velcro goes on the Velcro tab goes on the inside. So you have full Molly, but I didn't need that for my range belt. So I ordered a different one. And so the sizing was different. So I get it. The sizing's off. So I sent an email to them being like, hey, the sizing's not right. I know you have a 30-day return. Can I return it? Nothing ever. And like a month and a half, 2 months go by. So I like DM them on Instagram, and then I get a phone call like the next day. They're like, hey, for some reason, we sent an email out for some reason. I guess you never got it. I don't know. For some reason I looked and like we found it eventually. I don't know. But either way, they called me and they're like, hey, we're sorry for the inconvenience. We don't know what it was, but just don't even worry about paying because there's like a $15 restocking fee. Don't worry about it. You don't even have to fill out our form. Just literally write on a piece of paper what you want, ship it to us, and I'll take care of you. And I think like the owner called me or something, right? I'm like, okay. So I send it. And this was in, I think, March or February or January of 2022. It is now February 2023 when we're recording this. I still have never heard back from them since. I DM'd them on Instagram. I emailed them. I called them. Nothing. I have not heard from them since. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And I've already moved on to different styles of belts anyways, so I don't even want it anymore because like belt technology has evolved since then. But it's like, I still use some of their belts because I still have them, but like I have no interest in it anyways. And it was 2 belts as well because I bought one of their EDC belts and one of their duty belts, and they both were the wrong size for me. So I was like, so it's like $250 worth of belts. Never heard anything ever again.
Damn.
So who knows?
Yeah.
And so, and like that to me, like it's a smaller company. I get it. And I know they like have government contracts or whatever, so they get busy, but it's been a fucking year. And at this point I've just given up completely. Like that's basically how it was with Zinc Point until they contacted me. Like I gave up completely on it because like considering I sent them the ammo and they never contacted me ever again, probably not going to hear anything from them. But you know, now I'm hearing something simply because that's maybe if I make a video on Lead Devil, I'll get a call.
Yeah, probably.
But it's like what the average customer, this is what sucks. Me or Brett or even Pete, one, we know some people in the gun community, and 2, we have a decent presence. So if we make a video, if we make a complaint, we might get taken care of just because of that. But the average individual should not have to make a video, make an Instagram post or anything to get sorted out. Yet that's what so many people tend to do. Their channel blows up because they make a video on a bad customer service experience.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, why can't this why can't SIG? Why can't Lead Devil? Why can't Walther, Taurus, Remington, all of these companies just have a good experience from the get-go? And it's like, especially these smaller companies, like you can't, like I know Keltec, pretty bottom of the barrel, but they have pretty good customer service from what I've heard. It's
good, yeah.
Right? So if you're going to have a cheap, like I've heard even High Point has really good customer service.
They do,
right?
yeah.
So
really?
Yeah.
Now I want to go buy a High Point.
Like I've heard, like honestly, they have phenomenal
my little
service.
problem solver.
They had 10 millimeter now.
Yeah, I've heard they have phenomenal customer service. It's designed to be at a price point. Like they know what they're making.
Right.
So, you know, or you have a company that's a little bit smaller, it's grown bigger, like TRX Arms, that's had great customer service all the way through. And I've had so many other customer service experience with companies, even big companies like Velocity Systems, where it's like SIG, where they have 1 billion military contracts all over the world. They still have really good customer service experience. And something I want to say, there's customer service when you have a problem, and then there's just when you have a question. Because there's some companies you will have a question and you will never get a response, no matter who you email, call, text, whatever. Like I'll be like, will this product work with this product? We don't know, or we get nothing. But then there's other companies, TRX Arms, Velocity Systems, Guardian Warrior Solutions recently, who I reached out to. you have a question, they will call you and walk you through it and give you more information than you ever needed, so you know whether this product works or not. And it's like, or Agency Arms, I asked them a question once, they called me, I emailed them, they called me and gave me a detailed breakdown, letting me basically know the secrets behind the laws of the universe, when I only wanted one little answer and I learned a lot more than I needed, which is not a complaint.
Yep.
Versus some companies, you call them, you text them, whatever, and you never get a single response from them, and your question's never answered. It's like, okay, well, I don't.
That's insanity.
Now I don't want to buy your product because I have no idea if this will work for my needs or not.
Well, those are companies that are basically planning to fail, and they may not have the staff, they may not have the ethos, right? And these are all things that if I was starting a company, I would have all thought out well before I even put my website, link my website anywhere, right? So, like, for example, my bad customer experience was with Ruger, like, and I don't really have a lot of details. It wasn't that involved, but it was, yes, Brett, like, I will echo that. Yes, when I called and being on hold, it was like, welcome to Ruger, the country's oldest firearms in the nation. Hold this one moment.
It's like getting stuck on like a ride at like Disney or something. You just keep hearing the exact same like part of the ride and you just go insane.
Now look here, buckaroo, whatever. Right. But my thing was, okay, so I live in a not free state, New York. So when we had the SAFE Act, I bought myself a Ruger. Like, you couldn't even get rifles like for a while. Like, it was just hard to get like AR platforms because no one was selling, because we had this ridiculous law. You can't have any of the features or whatever. Right. So I bought myself an SR556, which is their piston based, AR, right? Like, kind of like,
do you know what plant those are made in? If you don't, I'll just look it up.
I don't. But when I had bought it, it was like all I could get, and it has that crappy Thordsden stock on it, so that you have like a 10-round removable magazine and whatever, man. It was awful. But since then, people have figured out that you can, like, new products have come out. You can put a locked 10-round mag in an AR and have it all the features, right? So I can get rid of the stock. So I was like, you know what? I have this thing around here. I might as well do something with it, right? Like, whatever. Let me do something with it. And I had a bull barrel, because I couldn't have threads or anything, right? Awful stuff, right? Like, I don't even want to be talking about this. We still haven't solved our rifle issue here in New York. But I call them and I just go, hey, I have this model. I have this is my serial number. Like, can I just buy a threaded barrel for this? Because now I can lock a mag in here and do whatever I want. They're like, oh, no, you can't do that. I was like, What do you mean I can't buy one? They're like, yeah, no, we don't have any. I was like, because it's like a specific barrel for that, because it has that piston system. Yeah, it might have been that. Let's see.
That barrel.
Yeah, I can't quite tell, but it's something like that. No, it's whatever. It's just a bull barrel that I wanted to switch on. There's like, nah, we can't do that. And I was like, so you're telling me that Ruger Firearms doesn't have, I said this to the lady, I was like, you mean to tell me that Ruger Firearms does not have another barrel that I can replace this one with? I just want the barrel. That's all. They're like, well, you'd have to send us your rifle, and they said to me that you could only replace the barrel with the same barrel that was sent out of the factory.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, man. I was disgusted, right? Like, I was like, forget it. And like, that thing is just sitting on a shelf because I like stripped the lower and now I'm using it on another build. Like, I built like a mock Motto Mark 12. So like, I used that lower for that build. Fuck it. That's all it was good for. Ruger, thanks a lot. And that was like one of the worst experiences I've ever had, right? Like, I had to basically almost throw away the firearm because I had to keep it in the same shitty condition that it was in.
Yeah.
But adjacent to firearms, there's all gear companies and stuff. I will tell you right now, True Spec can eat like the biggest bag of dicks, like all like dick baguettes coming out of the side of the bag, like floppy ones, like jelly bag dicks, all kinds of dicks. True Spec was like, everyone knows them to make like BDUs and jackets. They actually make a really cool jacket that's their it's like their H2O jacket. It repels water so well. And I wanted one for work, just a cheap, like, $150, $200 jacket to throw in the back of the car and just keep there year round because it's warm enough. And it really sheds water well. So when I'm working, I get caught out there, I can let that thing take a beating,
What are these?
Yeah, I think that's the one on the right with the hood there. It might be at the H2O. Yeah, that's it. It wasn't the parka, but it was like
Something
one of their
like
other.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, awesome jacket, man. Awesome jacket. And it had like the fleece comes out. I had it for like a month and like the zipper just like disintegrated. Right. So I was like, okay. And like I contact TrueSpec and they're like, yeah, no, just take it to your local tailor. I'm like, what? Like, you take it to my local tailor. You're my local tailor. They're like, well, we don't do that kind of service. I'm like, well, can you replace the jacket? They're like, no. I'm like, dude, your crappy zipper implodes on me. And I went nuts. And that's when I did use the platform to be like, never buy anything from TrueSpec. And like, I my problem is I love the jacket. I kind of want another one. And that's the thing. Like, that's how they get you. Like it's really warm and it's waterproof, man. That thing's amazing. But the zipper is going to implode on you. And like, it's not like a dope, like YKK zipper or anything. So kind of gun adjacent, I know, but like still like that's a customer service experience. And yes, Midas, when you were saying before, like, you got to use your platform sometimes. And it sucks. Cause I don't want to be like, you were telling me like, oh God, I don't want to make this SIG video. And I kind of bullied you into it. Like I like posted your experience and like, I was like, yo, Midas is going to post another video on this. I promise you, like to my followers. And I was like, so you're going to do it or what? You're like, well, I guess I have to, but it's been the best thing ever because as far as, remember what I said to you? I said like, bro, this is a public service announcement. Like you have to post this because what if someone gets a SIG? What if the FCU rusts? What if the thing explodes in their hand and then maybe they go blind or something crazy? Like people need to be aware of this. And we are people who are concerned with the stuff that we buy and we're a part of the community and we're making people aware. It's not like a clout chasing thing. It's like literally like, don't buy a TrueSpec jacket unless you want the zipper to implode. Don't buy a SIG, from this batch at least, because it's rusting and your FCU may like come like loose on you and the strike. Who knows if the striker will rust, right? Like, yep. Seriously.
And I never looked, so it could have been a rust. My striker, that's actually a good thing. I didn't know. I could have watched the video, but I had no knowledge of like 365s. So right. I was like, I'm not going to take the slide apart because I just don't want to fuck it up because I don't know anything about how they work.
Pretty similar to
I tried to take the FCU apart and it started confusing me when so I was like, all right, no.
Yeah, that thing's
I would not be surprised if there was rust inside the striker channel, to be honest. I don't know now. I sold that gun and lost so much money on it. Like I couldn't find I did not want to sell it to a private party ultimately. Like I just wouldn't feel right about it, but I'm like, I don't want to keep this and I want some money. So I was like, I'll sell it to a gun store because a gunsmith can look at it and all that. And, and I know I'll lose more money. I sold my gun store. I think I got like $300 for it, $350, I think in total I got for it. So we lost a lot of money on an $800 pistol.
But I mean, like and I want to add, I sold my 320 compact to my buddy, and that sounds mean, but he's a gunsmith, so I was like, bro, it's on you, man. I like warned him. I was like, there's like a major court case going on. Like he's like, nah, man, I want it. I was like, all right, well, better buy it for me than someone else, I guess. Here you go. Don't shoot your dick off because he carries appendix too. So I was like,
and what sucks, and like your experience with TrueSpec, you like the product, but the customer service is bad, and you're like, what do I do?
Yep.
Right. So I will say this: I don't know if you guys know Eufy Security, they make like cameras and shit, like Bring and stuff like that. It's Anchor. If you know the company Anchor.
Oh yeah.
It's a subdivision of Anchor, and I was looking for one that like doorbell and other cameras and stuff that doesn't use like a monthly service or cloud storage. I wanted local storage and I wanted no monthly service bullcrap, right? I just want to see what's going on. I don't need monitoring and all this shit. And everything I saw from them, this looks like the perfect system for me. Gonna do everything I want. You've got and they have like these solar cameras that are really all sorts of cool stuff, right? Everything seems awesome. So I buy their latest, greatest base station, their doorbell camera, wire it all up, all this stuff. And I'd already bought their doorbell camera actually as a gift for someone before, and I'd set it up for them. It's like it worked really easy. I bought their base station doorbell combo. So it's like, oh, I've done this before. It should be a piece of cake. I couldn't get it to sync with the base station. And it was their new Home Base 3. The combo would come with a Home Base 2. And I'd done my research, right? It said as of December of 2022, all doorbells will be compatible with the Home Base 3. So I'm like, hey, I ordered this like a month ago. I'm compatible now. I'm all good. No problem. I tried to hook it up. It doesn't work. I call their customer service and they're like, oh yeah, this won't be compatible till March. I'm like, on the product page, it says December 2022. It will be compatible. And I'm like, no, it's actually March. We put an update out on our blog or whatever. I'm like, okay, but on the product page on your website where I looked, which it still says this, it says December 2022, not March 2023. And they're like, yeah, well, that's how it is, unfortunately. It's like, you can return the doorbell. I'm like, I don't want to return it. I want to use it. I'm not ordering it just to have it. I'm ordering it to use it. And I'm like, what can you do for me? Like, well, you could return it and we'll give you a refund. I'm like, no, I already said I don't want that. I want to use it. What can you do for me? Can I temporarily use one of the Home Base 2s then? And like, no, you could buy one. And I'm like, can you give me a discount? It's like, no. I'm like, can you do anything for me? No. So you misled me on your marketing material saying this was compatible. And then now you tell me, oh yeah, it actually doesn't work after I purchased it. And all I can do is get rid of it and then not have it. And there's no way I can have it. Because the thing is, the cameras I bought, I want to use the good base station that allows me to expand storage. So it's like, it's not just a gun thing. Obviously, but I think home security is still in this realm. And I recommend everyone to have some sort of home security system.
Yeah, we have to upgrade ours. Someone rummaged through through one of my family members' cars recently. So like we have that, like everyone I think has that new thing where like people will go by and just kind of like check if you live in a decent neighborhood, like no one's thinking bad things will happen. A lot of people don't lock their car doors. Which I find ridiculous.
Oh yeah. So many nice neighborhoods. Like, oh, it's a nice neighborhood. And then some kids that live in that neighborhood end up stealing shit. Cause like 90% of car burglaries are unlocked doors.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like, guys, lock your fucking cars. Also, don't put gun stickers all over it. Like,
no way.
Sig Sauer and like all this shit. Don't put stickers on your car in general.
Definitely, if you're gonna put one on though, I recommend a Glock by Glock sticker. Always Glock, glockity Glock.
No, put like a high point sticker because then they're not going to steal anything.
Just kidding.
Or a SIG, but like you see people as like the SIG sticker, the NRA sticker, the USCCA sticker, then they have like I don't know, some other normie brand. Like then they have the Glock sticker, then they have the Remington sticker, then they have like
definitely put a Punisher skull.
They have a Punisher
the American
skull
flag
in
it.
They have a thin blue line thing.
The one that blows my mind is I'll see like a USCCA sticker, and I'm like, who cares enough to put a sticker for concealed carry insurance on your car? Like,
right.
I'm real proud to be insured for concealed carry. I want everybody to know I'm insured.
Like, so I use USCCA. I've never had to use them.
Yeah.
But their prices aren't bad, and I wanted something.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a whole other discussion. Which I think
I can't get them in New York, man. They won't. Yeah. They don't have USCCA.
They're like, you're fucked no matter what. We won't deal with that.
They want. Yeah, you have to. You can get insurance, but it has to be through your homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance or anything. So
like as a carrier, you're fucked basically. Then.
Oh yeah. So it's totes my goats. So like pretty much like, I mean, listen, man, I don't care. As soon as my everything is like settled with my the laws here, which is going to be in T-minus 20 days or so, all that stuff is getting the New York CCIA, that crazy new law is getting blasted. As soon as that's done, and as soon as my like I've qualified and everything, I'm just waiting for my like upgrade, my amendment on my paperwork. As soon as that comes through, man, I'm packing. No matter what, because what, like look at Kyle Rittenhouse. Sucked for him, but like that was the ultimate test of whether or not if you're in the right, you're in the right. You know what I mean? So I don't give a damn.
And it's like this was before Rittenhouse. I got years ago. I got USCCA, and maybe there's something better now. I probably need to look, but they were like the one of the few options back then.
Yeah.
But it's like I would like to have something, right? Because I'd rather not. They only cover so much. But it's more just in reality. Obviously, this is just me talking out my ass. But in reality, if you have a good shoot and it's not like a super public thing at like a BLM riot, you'll probably just need an attorney. You just want the attorney there. So when you talk to the cops, you have a vessel to speak to the cops through, and you're not talking from yourself because you do not simply. You could do all the right things, and if you just say the wrong thing, you could end up getting investigated or going to court when it didn't need to. So having that attorney to speak for you, someone who is in the firearms world as well, because I don't know any attorneys outside of going through the channels of USCCA or something that would know how to have that interaction, right?
Yeah.
You know, I know attorneys for personal injury, I know attorneys for other things, but you know, there's not a whole lot of attorneys I know that are practicing in my area for that versus
Right.
USCCA. That's their job. They know that stuff, or US Law and Shield, any of those other ones. So I think having something like that, there's a benefit, or at least finding who you would want to call in that situation.
Well, I'll tell you this. My instructor, he's a you know, he had a, like my CCW course that you have to take here in New York, right? Like the guy, you know, he has his own company, has guns that he sells. He has he does personal security, does private investigation, does all this sort of stuff, right? So he's in the realm. He carries every day for work, right? And he's been involved in 2, I think, or maybe 3 legal shoots, like where he was defending his life, and actually 2 where he defended his own life, and then 1 where he was defending someone else's. And each one was like, I think like the first one was like 15 or 20,000 bucks. It cost him, you know, which, you know, he had insurance for through his homeowner's insurance or whatever, which was ultimately reimbursed. The second one was like 20 or 25, and the last one was like 30 or 35,000 bucks. So you will be spending money out of pocket if you ever are involved in any kind of shoot in most places, believe it or not, because they will come after you civilly, if not criminally. Like, you know, now that guy Gage Rosecrotz or whatever his name is, he's coming.
Skateboard pedophile or whatever.
Yeah, well, like that's the guy who got his bicep blown off. He's, you know, coming after Kyle Rittenhouse for a second time. Like his first case was dismissed. Now he's coming after him again, right? Like, because he has only, you know, that's his only recourse right here.
Yeah.
You know, which just goes to show the first cop I ever spoke to about when I got a gun said to me, just make sure you kill him dead. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you don't want him coming back, you know, like suing you and claiming that, you know, like, he's like, make sure you just kill him dead. I was like, okay, all right. It was like an old timey crusty ass cop, but regardless, right? You know, yeah, it's going to cost you money if you get in a shoot, but that's neither here nor there, boys. That's neither here nor there. We have some comments to discuss, don't we?
Oh yes. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, there's this one guy. I'll see if I can find it. That
let's set the stage. The internet has words often thrown at people, aren't they? Like don't people throw a lot of words around on the internet, Brett?
Oh yeah, you know, it's the faceless, nameless, anonymous, masked commenter that just really likes to poke you a bit, and just it comes with the territory, right? You know, you put your face out there and you say words in front of a bunch of people, you're gonna get people that disagree with you and aren't polite about it, and the majority of the time they are just 100% right about everything and can't be convinced otherwise, because you are just, I don't even know, man. It's I wonder what goes through these people's minds when they're typing the comments. Like, what would drive somebody to say these things? But then I realize
insecurity and no fear of getting their ass beat.
Yeah,
because the thing, you say some of this stuff to someone in person, like there's a high chance you get punched in the face or something happens to you, right? Like, yeah. If I walked up to a stranger in the street and said some of the stuff people say in my comment section, I'd probably get punched in the face.
Yeah, well, and it's not just that. It's also the anonymity, right? Because if they had to sign their name and put a picture of themselves next to what they were saying, and it's like that could end up on Facebook or Instagram, and their like family, their wife, their mom, their daughter could see what they're saying. Yeah, or their job could see what they were saying. All of a sudden, everybody would think that they were an absolute piece of garbage, which they are.
Well, that's like my thing of...
In an update to... what's his face, admin being doxxed and his family, the guy who doxxed him was counter doxxed by someone else. I didn't see the thread because it's not that deep for me, but I did see that now people are like, oh, okay, you want to dox a nice upstanding member of the community who's like a good person and also put his wife and family out there, you know, for everyone to see. Great, cool. And like the dude changed his Twitter name and everything, like because I wound up making a comment on that post, like you know, I got him good, actually. It was a lot of likes. It was awesome. It felt good because the guy was such a piece of shit, but he changed it to like something like Socialist Rifle Association or something like that. Yeah. Like whatever it was, you know, some commie, you know. But yeah, like counter doxing is now a thing too. So We're such babies. I can't believe.
Well, the thing is, like, I think a lot of these people as well, you know, like I was saying earlier, everything you say, you should be okay with everyone in the world knowing you said it, ultimately, right? Because what dystopian shithole do you live in where you don't have that, right? Because the day I'm afraid to say something is the day I am like moving to a private island or something, because I should be able to say whatever it is I want. And yeah, maybe some people might say some mean things, but when it comes to things that actually affect my life, if I start living in a world where it actually starts to get that bad, then we have problems. And I think we're starting to get there. But a lot of these people will say whatever they want under that anonymity. I can't speak today. That obscurity where like no one knows who they are. So I'll just say, you know, go fuck yourself, go kill yourself, whatever, right, on the internet, and no one's going to hear it, right? And I mean, we've been seeing this for years in like Call of Duty lobbies. But I think that's one thing when someone like rages in a video game, you know, versus when it's full on like commenting on a video, you know, like I feel like there's neither are good, but I think there's a difference. And
well, I think there was a cultural acceptance to shit talking.
Yeah,
in Call of Duty
I think
lobbies.
shit talking, because you like if anyone's played sports growing up or something, like you go play basketball with your friends or whatever, like you shit talk the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
Right. So, or even if you play with like random pickup kids from across the street, you shit talk each other. That's like growing up. Exactly. But there's a difference between shit talking and like this isn't then like on a YouTube comment. I'm not like, I don't care what you say about me. I really couldn't give a shit. But it's like it just shows their ignorance. Like people will literally comment. Like this one guy, not defending SIG, but you haven't showed us the Rust. It's like within the phone call with them, I show the Rust. Yeah. And I have 3 other videos that show the Rust. So it's like, and then so I reply to the guy, and also there's an Imgur, like there's so many different things that show it. So it's like, I think so many people either tune out half of what they watch, and it's like, this wasn't in the video.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was in the video. And I'll see this in other people's videos where it's like, can you show us how to do this? It's like, it's in the video. Watch
oh
it.
My God. Right? When I would do like those, like I had, remember that stippling video I did?
Yes.
Midas? Like people were like, wait, how do you stipple? And I was like, I just showed you. Like, what the hell, dude? Like,
it's like people want to be stuff spoon-fed up their ass, because
oh my gosh,
we live in the information age where I can literally, there's almost nothing I cannot learn how to do online. Literally, find me something I can't learn to do online. I would be shocked if you showed me something I can't learn to do online. And yet I will get comments from people like, what is that? How is this? I'm like, did you not watch? I mentioned what it is, or I say what it is, or I literally show you what you're asking for. And it's like, or where's the update to this? I checked your channel. I didn't see it. I literally have a video I posted on my channel before you posted this comment saying the update is coming. Wait. So it's like either they're not watching the videos saying that the video is coming, or they're not even, or they just have no patience. I think everything is people don't have patience. And so instead of watching the video, they'd rather comment.
Well, dude, I don't know, because like on my X Macro video, I had 2 dudes. One dude was like, oh my God, I have a bombshell. You guys aren't going to believe this. Nightwood Guns got his X Macro from Midas over at Control the Gun. It's the same gun. And I'm like, dude, I said that in the first 30 seconds of the video. Like, that's not a bombshell. I'm like, hey, this is where I got the gun from. I didn't believe him that it was this bad. He put his money where his mouth was and sent it to me. And oh my God, it's this bad. Like literally. Then there was another dude that was like, this won't happen to every X Macro. You're being dishonest and it's clickbait. And I said, when did I say this would happen to every X Macro? He's like, I was under the impression. He's like, I watched your whole video and you were making it sound like every X Macro will rust like this. And I said, in the first 10 seconds of the video, I have a preview of what's happening later in the video. In that 10 seconds, I said, if you buy an X Macro, it might rust and you might have to deal with customer service and warranty that might not take care of you. I did not say this will happen to every X Macro. I said, this might happen to your X Macro. And I'm like, it literally was the first 10 seconds of the video and it just didn't even matter.
Ugh.
It's like, I don't know. I don't know if people, if it's maybe it's cathartic for them to like do it. I don't know. I really don't care. Like you can comment whatever you want on my videos, because ultimately, especially the people that I reply to, they reply to me, it boosts the video. So do it. Do it. Feed the algorithm gods. I will gladly partake. But it's like, did you not like, or this one? It's like, I knew you were a Glock. Here, I'll share my screen. I knew you were a Glock fanboy. I got 5 SIGs, 2 Glocks, and you need to stop. From your first video, I knew you were a SIG hater. It's like, okay. Like, I don't even know what. And then someone says something, and it's like, there's no context to what you're saying.
Yep.
It's like, or this guy, which also commented on your video, like Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Oh, Mike Tyson. Yep.
So it's like, and I guess, but he's saying how he's changing the barrel on his gun. It's so great that I don't know. I actually thought about doing that, about buying an XL barrel and getting it ported and throwing it in the macro before I decided to just throw the macro away.
Yeah.
Because I thought that'd be interesting. But it's like, what is this? And then like, obviously a lot of people saying like that, or like this, it's like painting SIG custom server for a broad brush. The warranty clearly does not support rusting. Where's that clear? Hey SIG, I have 2K rounds in the gun. It's rusting through and a gouging barrel. Can you exchange it? It's like, nope. Like, what is that like a good response? Like, I don't even understand. Like, I don't know if maybe people don't shoot rounds and they think 2000's a lot, which is probably part of it.
That's probably
but it's like,
it.
how is the gouge in the barrel and the rusting good?
Yeah.
Like,
and okay, so I need to read Mike Tyson's comment to me because it's glorious, and I think it's a great example of what you get.
What is it on the macro video?
It's on the macro video, yeah. I'll just start reading it while you're looking for it because it's good stuff. Wow, look at this clown shoot. How embarrassing. I'm shocked this idiot even showed his face. This guy never gets laid, and the fact that idiots like this even has a gun is scary enough as it is. I'm just watching him shoot all stiff and flexing like that 9mm with a compensator is making him hold on like he's riding a bull. Dude, you're a bum. Get your clickbait. This is where it goes to all caps. Nobody is going to take you seriously the way you shoot all stiff like you're holding some hand grenade. I feel for your parents who have to claim you as their child. Go through puberty, little boy. More push-ups still won't get you laid. You don't get laid, and it shows. It's like this.
Well, I could vouch for that. But Midas does not get laid.
No, this was on. This was on.
Oh, this is yours. Oh, I could vouch for that too. You don't get laid either.
The hilarious, ironic thing is, when I saw this comment, I looked at what time it was sent, and I was literally like banging the shit out of my wife when he sent me that video. So just the hilarious irony of that. And he talks so much about not getting laid. It's like, dude, you're projecting. It's like, you can't get laid. Oh, and by the way, you just really can't get laid. And it's clear that you can't get laid.
Wow, dude. To take that amount of time to write something like that, yeah, he's definitely not the one not getting laid. Absolutely.
And then talking about
maybe he's a bottom, you know.
Yeah, he probably. But then talking about how I
go ahead.
Talking about how I grip the gun. It's like, you grip the gun so hard. I'm like, dude, like, you're supposed to.
Do you not?
Yeah, like,
do you not grip your gun?
Since it's a 9mm, you're supposed to grip it loose.
Just like this, and it's like
the heart. Like, you want to mimic a vice to have the gun jump around as little as possible. Just because it's a 9mm doesn't mean you hold it loose. You hold it tight, so that way it has like no recoil. And it's like the dude's like, no one's gonna take you seriously. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about.
Wow.
Like, what class would you go to where the instructor's like, dude, you need to hold that gun way lighter because it's a 9mm.
You hold the gun like this. It's a 9mm.
Okay, so that's the thing. That's the thing. So most of the folks that are out there making these comments and whatever, I would venture to say a good 80 to 90% of them have no freaking clue what they're talking about, right? So like that guy obviously has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to recoil mitigation. I mean, maybe he saw. I mean, do you keep your elbows bent, Brett? When you like that slight little bit of a bend, right? That's your recoil mitigation. Everything else should be like death grip, whatever, vice grip or whatever. But yeah, that's the thing. People have to say something. Sometimes they're cloud chasing by posting on your posts, especially if you have a video that's trending, like Midas's video was with that SIG stuff. I'll show you okay, but most of the time it's stuff like this. All right. So there's a Instagram page called Gun Page Comments. And this is a guy named Return of the Poor. This is his second page, right? Okay, so I guess somebody said that they can get faster shots using an RMR, and someone responds that I cannot believe that this was a response. Here we go. I'm willing to bet the extra time it takes to turn the RMR on is more than the time it takes for you to get your first shot on target with sights. The RMR is great for range target race gun, but I don't see the practicality for it as a defensive on a defensive weapon. I'd love to have one for my full-size M&P, but not for my shield. Also, relying on a battery-operated electronic to give you an advantage in a life-and-death situation doesn't sound good to me. You can train with your weapon to make yourself good with sights, and you can be sure of relying on your own skill and sights that are always there. Oof. can you imagine that this person actually thinks that you leave your sight off until you pull the weapon out and deploy it? That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Someone who has no clue what an RMR or any RDS is, and yet has the temerity to have to comment on something like that and say that irons are better, right? You could argue that irons are better, right? If you shot them better your whole life and you're like freaking Mickelchuk or whatever, you know, that dude, right? Jerry Mickelchuk, right? But whatever the guy's name is,
Jerry Mikulik,
whatever the hell, Mickelchuk, whatever, man. But the point is, you could argue that. You could totally argue that. But but the guy's like just not understanding how an RDS works and, you know, claiming supremacy. Oh my God.
I love this one.
What's it say? I own an AL for carry.
Aluminum. I own an aluminum frame for carry. My range and house guns are steel. Even if I could only get 8,000 rounds out of an aluminum frame, that would be plenty of life for a carry gun, as I usually prove the gun with 300 rounds and then shoot about 50 to 100 rounds a year for muscle memory. Most time I shoot with steel frame guns, no worry here. P.S. I remember reading Kimber stating that they shot 25,000 rounds from their CDP with no significant weight.
Oh my God.
And this is the comment you had right here.
Right.
And then there's some other, this one.
Oh, yeah. After having my red dot sights for a while, I've decided to go back to my iron sights on my carry. Reason? Guys, let's face it. They're cool and they're incorrectly. They are, my friend. Cool and fun to play, but the fact is that you don't have time to acquire a sight picture in a real life adrenaline dump. Not in the events that we have seen lately. You just won't. You just don't. And every situation is different. Real life is between 5 to 8 feet. Do you have that kind of time? I know I don't. No matter how much. No matter how much I train and these old tired eyes are going to falter, let's face it, red dots take precious time. Time you may not have. Are you looking through your red dot or are you looking at your threat? See, that's what pisses me off about this one. Because
the RDS know how to use a red dot.
Because the RDS is all about having threat focus as opposed to front sight focus, which if you take this logic and apply it maybe to a front sight, you might be, you know, you're wrong, but you might be dangling in the correct, you know what I mean? Ish.
You might appear slightly intelligent.
You might appear slightly intelligent. Right. Exactly. So, dude, it's like the whole purpose of the RDS is to make you faster if you train with it, hello, and then be able to threat focus so that all you see is that dot floating in front of your face. And then you can go ahead and squeeze the trigger and be hopefully, you know, generally on target. Right. So there you go. There's a perfect example.
What he's turning on, like, because he's like, or are you a threat, a laser? Like, he sounds like he's against the laser, but then I can grab the gun, instant on, and shoot. Red dot, too much time for me anyway. They're nice toys for range guns.
Real life carry.
Oh yeah, this one's great, and you have to be watching this one if anyone's listening. I heard you like safety, so I put a safety lock in a bank safe bag to put in my gun safe. Father of 2, under 5, never can be too safe.
So he has a revolver. I think it's like, what is that, like a Colt Python or something, or I don't know.
That's a Smith.
Okay, Smith & Wesson revolver. He has one of those stupid like gun lock things that you put through like the chamber into the grip just because it's legally required that everyone throws away.
Right.
Through one of his cylinders, and then he puts the gun in one of those like bank bags that you can lock the zipper closed for like notaries and like money and stuff. And then he puts that inside of an actual safe.
I feel like this has to be satire. At least I hope that it is. I did see that it's on the liberal gun owner subreddit.
Oh, well.
Well, like this. The hard truth of the matter is that most civilians can get by with an 856 ultralight or Smith & Wesson J-frame in the front pocket and a speed strip for a reload. This is what I do most of the time. There are occasions where I carry my G43X inside the waistband and have my stun nose as a backup. On the few occasions that I go to a big city, I'll put my Taurus 605 in my offhand pocket, loaded with 125 grain 357 Magnum, and carry my Glock 29 Gen 4.
Okay, legit. Okay, for real though, I could get along with this guy. Like, at least this guy's cool. Because I did a video that was how many rounds do you need for self-defense? And if you statistically look, it's 0. Carry an unloaded gun, and you're fine for self-defense.
Right.
So it's like having 5 live rounds in a J-frame revolver puts you above what you're statistically going to need. The
gotcha.
problem is if it's the worst case scenario, if it's multiple targets, if it's one dude who has decided to fight you and not run away, that's when those 5 rounds, that J-frame is no good. But the vast majority of us are never going to use a firearm in self-defense, especially in public in a concealed carry situation.
God willing.
I mean, and of course it depends where you live. You could live in a really crappy part of town and be like your concealed carry instructor that had been in 3 shoots.
Right.
Live in a bad part of town, that's going to happen. But as long as you go out of your way to avoid it, it's probably not going to happen. But if you can't avoid it, having a gun will probably make it go away. But if it doesn't make it go away, and you get into a gunfight, that bad guy's not going to have a J-frame. I can tell you that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you never know, but I actually don't mind this one as much if you're carrying a revolver, a 357 revolver, because let's just say, like, for example, you get into a tussle and the guy has a deadly weapon on him, and all you can get to is that revolver. You can just put it in the guy's ribs and pull the trigger, and it's bound to go off even from your pocket, which is why I really do like a little snub-nosed revolver for that reason, right?
It's a backup.
Yeah, it's a nice little backup. But what I don't like about that post is, like, he says, like, the 10 millimeter as if, like, you know, because they don't make 11 millimeter. You know what I mean? He's like one of those types. You know what I mean?
No. I mix my EDC up in the winter, but recently I switched to a Taurus G3. If I ever use my EDC, I'd rather have a $300 pistol in the evidence locker than one of my SIGs.
Oh,
nice.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't want to carry a SIG either, but
nice. I like where you went with that.
You know, that BJ Baldwin, he is that desert truck racer, you know, like 8-time world champ. Anyways, when he got into that gunfight in the In-N-Out parking lot, defensive gunfight, and he saved his life and his girlfriend's life, he got obsessive about testing what is the best gun to carry. By the way, he also decided on a Staccato XC. That's what he started carrying, and carries the same ammo that I carry. That was like validating. But anyways, he was testing a bunch of shit, including 10 millimeter handguns. And what he found is he could do more damage with a 9 millimeter in the same amount of time with a 10 millimeter just because of recoil. He could get, like, 5 9 millimeter plus P's downrange in the amount of time he could get 3 10 millimeters downrange. Right. Every round that you fire is a chance to hit a vital. And he was like, it's just, listen, 10 millimeter kicks ass. It's an amazing round, but at the end of the day, I can cause more damage in the same amount of time with a 9 millimeter, being able to shoot it quicker. So,
okay, this is a good one. I'm going to read off of gun page.
Let me find it. Is it this one? This one's great.
You use that red dot to tune your eyes in good on those iron sights, then take that red dot mess off. What? Oh, so he's using it like a training tool. Oh, I like the more threatening ones. Hold on. I got a threatening one. Wait, that one's, oh God. All right, here's one that I'm going to read. Hold on.
Oh my God.
This guy has a thing. Okay. Wait, go ahead. Read that one and then I'll read this one.
One teacher said he shot himself with a 30. I asked, you mean 30 super, right? He said no. I asked if he was all familiar with guns. Again, nope. We all know a 380 38 super would have blown a 6-year-old's leg off at point blank, but dude still believes he walked off with 38 slugs to the thigh bone. What?
Bro, what? Yeah. Oh, this one, I like when people get like a little like violent. So this guy, his at was, or should I say his at or no?
Where do I find it? I'm gonna pull it.
It's on gun page. So it's like protect children at all costs, and it says
here, I'm at the top of the page. Just tell me where to go.
Shit. Hold on. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 posts down. Yeah, it's like, yeah, keep going down, one more. Okay, in the middle. Yeah, that one.
If your points
were, oh no, that's not the one. Shit.
That one also looks pretty good though.
Okay, no, right below that one. Sorry.
People don't like getting shot,
boy. You ever poked someone, you had to defend yourself ever, and actually had an opinion based off experience, you wouldn't be proving how green and scared you are. Most worst case scenarios, because of too many movies and video games and not having living life. I get, like that, like who calls someone boy to start off this is not community building. This is not, I like, but I do like it when they get a little angry like that, Enjoy living in consistent fear, though. That's how he
That's
ends that one.
dude, like, I'm not afraid because I am prepared for a worst case scenario. I don't walk around in fear. Like, imagine being the guy with the J frame when a mass shooting pops off, dude with an AR, you're stuck in a hallway, and you're like, I've got 5 shots and a trough sight.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh, this guy is correct though, so we can't. This was a correct comment.
About P320.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I wrote, some generals decided they don't care. They didn't care if the P320 might accidentally shoot a service member. I'm not surprised. Yeah, neither am I.
Time bomb. I was just lucky to get out before that one sunk in 2020. As far as Glock, they are perfect. Give me plenty of faults, but their guns are going off inside holsters.
Yeah, you know what?
Correct.
Return of the Poor is. I've talked to him.
Sig shill.
He's not a sig shill. He's just adamant that it's absolutely user error. He's like, and he will fight you to the like. He is like dead. I've just approached him like a normal human being in the DMs. Like I've gone back and forth with him. I'm like, what do you think of this video? And it shows like the one going off in the kid's holster and the 3-gun competition. And he's like, yeah, that's bullshit. That holster doesn't, it's always the holster or always reholstering or, user error in some way. So
yeah. And I do respect that opinion. Like, we'll see how the lawsuits turn out.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see. It is my personal opinion. Like, listen, I encourage anybody who wants a P320 to buy it. I'm just for informed consent. I want everyone to know what's going on, and then you can make the decision. Yeah, this is all user error, and buy your 320.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that.
I'm just for keeping my genitals, so I don't buy a 320. But it's too with Glocks. Like, yes, there was the Glock leg. I think you got a bunch of comments like that, or something, or I did. It's like you never heard a Glock leg, then, Sonny. It's like
that's negligence.
It's because people are used to fucking double action revolvers, and a 5-pound trigger was too light for them.
Yeah.
That's literally why the NYPD has like 12-pound triggers.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That shit is. Oh, by the way, their new recruits. Check this shit out. This is amazing. Their new recruits get to have 5-pound, straight out of the box Glocks, right? But my boy, who's been on this, he's like about to he's making like some crazy squad. He still has to have a 12-pound trigger because that's what he learned in the academy.
Oh my god!
And they. And they won't let him have a 5-pound trigger. And then they're like, all right, yeah, you forever now have to be hindered by your trigger and like not be able to make accurate, or make it more difficult to make accurate shots with your stupid.
I can't imagine always basically having a double action, like a double action only gun.
Oh
yeah.
That's like that's why I don't like revolvers, honestly. Like it's not even, they actually are not more reliable. That's a bunch of bullshit. But the main thing is like, I don't want to have to either fan the fucking hammer or a double action pull every time to get fast shots. Like they're just bad in like every way, other than a pocket gun. Which why? I don't know. I just fuck revolvers. Anyways,
speaking of New York, last time I was in New York City, this was before all the world fell apart.
Right.
But last time I was there, I was in some like sandwich shop, and in walks this cop wearing a firearm instructor jacket and 2 detectives that were in plain clothes. One of which was a chick. Like just like this, skinny Instagram model looking like Law and Order detective. Right. And she's wearing like a slim fitting outfit and an outside the waistband holster with her duty gun in it. And her shirt is pulled over it.
Oh,
and she just has this giant tumor sticking out from under her shirt.
Right.
And then the other dude, his shirt didn't come down far enough to cover up his holster. So you see the bottom part of his holster. And then you see the firearm instructor. And I look down, he's open carrying and his holster's unsnapped.
Ooh.
And I'm and he's like an instructor, and I'm looking at these 3, and I'm like, these people can all legally carry a gun here, but I can't.
And you can't, right? No, I know, man. And like my buddies on the in the NYPD all tell me like, dude, you don't understand how bad it is. Most cops don't even want to have to carry a gun. And they will qual like, oh God, I have to qual. Yeah. And then because they know in their minds, I'm never pulling this thing out. Because what are you going to do? Run? Like, holy shit, dude. Like I honestly, man, like I feel like I'm so on my own here, like that's why I was so adamant about getting a CCW under, any circumstance. So whatever, man, I'm just weeks away.
And the thing is, there's people that literally like defend it, like in the gun community. It's like, oh, well, like that's actually a better trigger anyways. Or like, I want that trigger because the NYPD uses it and they're the top law enforcement agency in the United States. I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
That there's just, I mean, we could literally spend like 2 years just dissecting the internet. Like Garantham just released his video of that guy. It's a 22. I'm very eager to watch that.
I watched it like right before we hopped on. I watched it because it went up like right before we hopped on.
No spoilers.
I won't tell you.
But it's like I guess that's how you get on Garantham. So now I have to comment something outrageous now, and then I'll finally get my internet fame.
Yeah.
We have to all comment together on the same comment and say a bunch of ridiculous things. He flies us all out there.
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy. Like the stupidity and the things people say, and I think you commented this once on one of my videos before we really knew each other. And it was like, I said I was at like 5 to 7 yards, and you're like, are you sure that's not 50 yards or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
This is things these people, it's like, oh, we're here at 100 yards. I'm like, no, you're not at 100 yards.
Oh, it's the handgun shit that kills me. It's like, especially like running drills, something like the 3-7s drill. Like you learn what 7 yards is running that drill. You know what 21 feet is shooting a 1-inch circle. And you'll see someone like, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm at, probably about 30 yards. I'm like, dude, you're at like 12 yards.
Wow.
Get out of here.
Like I will say, so Sage Dynamics for the month of February, he has every month starting this year, he has like a challenge for his Patreons to do. And I was like, let me try it. And it's the 310, it's a triple 10 drill, but it's in a 10 ring of a B8 target, which is a lot smaller than I realized. I thought it was just the black. No, it's small. I'm not gonna grab it, but I have it somewhere. And I was like, okay, let me try it. And what sucked is I ran it. I ran one cold. I had a miss. I ran it again. I got everything in, and then I'm like, all right, let me record it. And so I record one, and I had they were good shots, but I had 2 shots that were like high. And I'm like, okay, let me do it again. And then I had like another, and then I did it. I think like my third time, I had really good time, really good shots. And then I had, I hadn't reloaded my mag, so I only had 8 rounds left. And so I got the slide lock. I'm like, I conducted the reel, and both those shots were like terrible. They were still good shooting. If that was a person, they would have changed their behavior. But it's like, people take these shots like, oh, look, I'm here at 100 yards shooting. It's like, no, you're not. Yeah. Right. And I'm not saying this to discredit someone's abilities, because I can shoot a handgun at 100 yards, but I'm not going to be like, bam, 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 bam. Look, 100 yards. This group, like, yeah.
Okay, though, somebody can do that. One of my subscribers sent me an email with I get fan mail every once in a while. I sent me an email with a link of this dude who used to work at Detroit karate school. You know that guy?
Survival, yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, this guy was showing off how good the Staccato XC was, because he EDCs it because he's awesome. And he claimed to do, I think it was a bill drill at 40 yards in like 3 seconds. And what he does is he like moves the camera and like shows the steel at, he's like, this is about 40 yards, right? And it could be. And then he turns the camera back, and then there's like a cut, and then it's just on him, and then there's a camera just on the target. And it goes, beep, pulls out, it goes, brrr, and then the target goes, tring. And it's not just like he hit the steel with every shot. He shot like a 2-inch group at 40 yards in 3 seconds.
Freak.
And then he, like, my subscriber was like, is this video real? And I was like, listen, anything is possible. I believe in doing the impossible. But the odds of that happening are so astronomical. He would have to be like an alien with superhuman
I don't think Jerry
reflexes.
Mitchell could do that.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is I was like, dude, the Staccato XC is awesome.
It's not that awesome.
I feel like I would have to train every single day doing only that drill every single day of my life 1,000 times in order to just
on your deathbed be able to pull it off.
And to just have the fluke that it happened, right? Like it's like,
oh my god,
you get better and better and better, and then it fluke happens. And I'm like, dude, there's that guy, the odds of him doing that are beyond astronomical.
Like I've tried the 777s drill, and I've done it from concealment once. I got like an 8 second.
Yeah.
And then the only time I've done it, I did it from like an outside the waistband holster, because I just wasn't shooting from concealment, but it was one of the targets I'd grabbed to shoot that day. And I did it in like 6 seconds, but I'm like, okay, I got to do it from concealment. I didn't record it. It's a fucking hard ass drill.
It's really hard,
because the main thing is if your sight acquisition is not perfect, and there's no margin for error. It's that first draw to first shot. That is the hardest thing. Everything else I would say is easier. It's that first shot. And the thing is, you really have less. You have to do it under 2 seconds. And it seems like that's an easy shot. Well, a shot from the holster and under you'd think you could do it under a second, but when it's a 1-inch little circle, oh my god! Like I'd have so many where I'd do the run, it felt super clean, and like here's a circle, here's my shot.
Yeah,
like,
that first one. Yeah.
Yep. But here, I think we're going to wrap it up. We've been talking for ranting and raving for quite some time.
Word.
But I will leave all of you guys with a question. What was your best and what was your worst customer service experience? Leave it down in the comments below. I'd like to hear, and maybe any dumb internet things you've heard, and we will gladly discuss those on the next video. We are always down for extra content. Otherwise, guys, Pete, where can everyone come find you, stalk you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. YouTube, I'm at TFN15, Instagram, TFN.15, and I'm actually on Twitter now, TFN_15.
And Brett, where can everyone find you?
Nightwood Guns on YouTube. In the description of all my videos is everywhere that you can find me and support the channel.
All right. And if you want to find me, you can go to controlthegun.org and find all my links. Otherwise, guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time.